Comments, discussion? Nope. Okay, all those in favor? That's unanimous.
Any discussion from the select board? All those in favor?
Click Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hill, GI.
All right. Assessor's expense, 141, 5,400, next page.
Like to make a motion to recommend the assessor's expense at account number 141-5400 in the amount of $19,430.
Second.
Same motion for the select board.
Second.
Discussion?
Well, we have a $61
Much the same.
decrease from that. Yeah.
Woo!
All right.
We'll take every penny we can get this year.
Why the decrease in title searches?
We haven't really done as many as we thought we were gonna end up doing, so kept a little bit in there, but
I mean, who does the assessors do the title searches?
no, we'd hire a title company or something.
Why do you need to search titles? This is to learn, I'm not.
If there's, sometimes when in abatements, if we're looking at abatements or it's been a few years since we've actually needed to do one. I'm trying to remember what that was for, but I just know once in a while they need to be done. I don't know exactly. It's been a bit.
Yeah, we do have a handful of properties in town that have ownership unknown. And so there have been past discussions about using that title search line to actually figure out who owns it and send them a bill. But often you kind of want to do some legwork initially just to see what kind of search it's going to be. And often it's clear it's not worth pursuing. The other thing is occasionally just questions about ownership of town properties come up. And so sometimes that'll go through town council and sometimes it goes through this line item.
Thank you. I was curious.
How many title searches can you even do for 1,500 in 2026? No, seriously, but yeah, it sounds like one. So I don't think it's an egregious line item. Yeah.
Any other questions? All those in favor? That's unanimous.
Any further discussion from the select board? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hill, GI.
Quinquennial recertification, next page.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the assessor's quinquennial recertification in the amount of $22,000, account number 142-5400.
Second.
Same motion for the select board.
Second.
Go ahead, Margaret.
Is the principal assessor in the, for the position posting, the advertised job description, are they going to be, is this going to be part of their duties listed in the job description? Taking over what Patriot does?
A lot of it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically the exercise we're doing right now is looking at the scope in the RFP and then comparing that to the job description for that principal assessor and just figuring out what we can carve back from that, the scope of the consultants. So
Makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I would just add, it's probably not going to be 100% of what they do, but it could be a good chunk.
Jim? Can you use the mic?
With the principal assessor on board, this budget item is basically going to go away?
Well, again, it's not 100%. So likely there will still be some, whether it's Patriot or Mayflower or one of the other firms that provides these services, there will likely still be some items in this recertification that they're taking care of, and it's not on the plate of this principal assessor. If that makes sense. So the line item itself won't go all the way away, but hopefully we can put a dent in it in 2028.
Anybody else? Nope. All those in favor? That's unanimous.
Any further discussion for the select board? No. All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Thanks.
So,
So I got one more question for you. Do you have any vision or insight or looking forward to new growth? Like it's pretty low this year, right? We're assuming very little. Do you
Yeah.
see anything
big
coming?
projects.
That you know of?
That I know of, and I don't think the utility companies have been the big one the last, not this past year, the year before, I
Mhm.
think the last few years. I don't see them doing any big projects this coming year that I know of. So,
Along those lines, the only thing I would mention is we had and I'm going to forget the name of the corridor, but our big transformer line corridor that goes through town. I know that over the past few months, we've had a bunch of DPU hearings about that. And so National Grid is doing some work there. And I believe we're going to see something out of that, but what that number is, I'm not certain yet. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Go ahead, Jim.
Get your names right on the.
Skip Sobieski.
I'm Frank Leone.
Okay, just making sure.
John, go ahead. Do you have a question or you're just sitting there? Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, yeah, thank you.
We're good. You do
Two.
too.
Oh, one quick thing. Sunny days. I always want to know about sunny days. Are they fully assessed at this point? I mean, they've got a temporary, I think they've got a certificate of occupancy, but they haven't started business yet. They're the marijuana.
I think wherever
grow
they're at is, as of July 1st, they'll be,
fully.
should be fully assessed at that point.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
1 on 5 and 10.
Anybody else? Nope. Okay, thanks. Okay, back up to the beginning, review of minutes. Yeah, sorry.
Well, that's okay. I was just gonna say, I think conservation is coming, but they are not quite here yet, but we do have Ned from Board of Health who's gonna join us online. So if we could do Board of Health next, since he's here,
Let's
that
do
would
Board of
be.
Health. All right,
that-
hold off on the
Or I
minute.
mean, I didn't realize you were going to minutes. I thought you were going to the next
Nope, nope.
department, but
Board of Health, we're ready. 5/12/51/10.
Like to make a motion to recommend Board of Health payroll, account number 512-5110 in the amount of $412.
Second.
Same motion for select board?
Second.
okay. So Ned is here to answer any specific questions you have, but just to start off, I'm just gonna say that this is just the normal steps and COLAs. There's no changes to the public health nurse. We are still expecting to receive, I believe it's $13,000 from the city of Greenfield that helps support the public health nurse as well. I don't think that that's been 100% voted, but we do expect that we will get that same reimbursement that we've got in the previous couple of years for the public health nurse. Right, Ned? Is there anything?
I'm sorry.
Is that correct, Ned? Is there?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm having trouble hearing you, but yes, that totals about 6 hours a week to her compensation, so to give her 18 hours. And it seems like that amount of time is working out good for her. She says, from what she tells us, so.
So this is the 24 hours in here is 12 hours per week, and then there's an extra 6 from Greenfield. Okay,
Yes.
they do that math, but. Anybody have any questions? No? All those in favor? That's unanimous.
The discussion for the select board? All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Okay, next page, Board of Health expense.
Like to make a motion to recommend Board of Health expense account number 512-5400 in the amount of $9,825.
Second,
Same motion for the select board.
Second.
And so you'll notice with this budget that it is level funded, but what they have done is they have moved around particular line items that are underspent and put them to some of the ones that have been overspent. So it's the exact same dollar amount. It's just being allocated a little bit differently when they looked at that. And there's a bunch of notes down there at the bottom if anybody cares to review them.
Ned, can you just talk about the, how people are, are people being told about the tick testing thing? I mean, is that something that you get a lot of requests for?
We don't usually get, I think I got one or two last year. And that was, I didn't do any advertising or anything about it, but I think that was in line with the year before. I'm not sure, but because we didn't do a lot of tick testing, that's kind of why I reduced it to 1,500 from 1,875. And then increase the postage amount. It was getting close this year, and I feel like with postage rates going up, we might need a little bit more. But the tick testing, I certainly want to make it known that that's what we do this year. Last year, I wasn't really too aware of what was going on with that, so.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Might be something to throw on the new town Facebook page.
Yeah,
Thank you, Greg.
for sure.
Any other questions or comments? Nope, all those in favor? That's unanimous.
Any further comment from the select board?
No.
All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hill, GI.
All right. That's it, right?
Thank you, Ned.
Thank you, Ned.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, now minutes.
I move that we accept the minutes from the February 23rd meeting.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those against, abstaining? 402, that passes. Reports from other meetings. Printed out a thing to bring and didn't bring it, so we will do it some other time. I was going to give you an update from all the stuff going on with, that we hear at whatever that meeting of meetings is called.
CCI?
CCI, yeah, but I'll bring that next week. So one other meeting thing we need to talk about is CIPC. Margaret would like to resign as the finance committee rep. Mark, you're available now to go back to that. Is that true?
I'll make that statement publicly. Sure. Yeah. If anyone else wants to take it, go for it. But yeah.
I'll be submitting my resignation to the select board. So if the select board could line up his appointment, that would be great.
We'll add it as an item unanticipated for Wednesday.
Yeah, we need to vote on it.
Yes.
But
Deal with that.
all right. So Margaret, do you want to make a motion?
Yes, I will move to nominate Mark as Finance Committee's rep to CIPC.
Second,
Right. Any discussion? Nobody else is going to fight him for it, huh?
Wait a minute.
Yep.
Chairmanship,
What's that?
you're going to do the chair?
Well, the committee would have to elect a chair, but I could do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
From a disinterested party.
Okay. All those in favor? That's unanimous, 600. Can you guys vote that since it's on our agenda for tonight? I mean, just do it.
Go ahead and vote it, and we'll do it again if we have to.
Take a motion to, well, I'll make a motion to appoint Mark Brennan to the CIPC.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, that he takes over the chair.
All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Okay. So that might be all taken care of. We'll
Do you guys want to appoint Trevor as the select board person since he's not here? Or do you want to keep it Blake? Yeah. All right.
So let's spend, we can do Conservation Commission since you're here. Why don't we do that? And then come on up. Should have said that louder. We're ready for you.
Count number,
171, 5,400.
Conservation, I move to recommend the sum of $42,357 for conservation agent, account number 171-5110.
Second.
Same motion for the select board.
Second.
Who seconded? Mark did? So I'm sorry, that was 5110, 171, 5110.
Have that one.
We can't.
Oh, okay.
So that's a new position. It didn't exist before. It's a brand new position. So why, somebody want to give us some background and discussion on that?
this has been approved by the personnel board. So
Let's get some.
Yep. So I believe last year we talked about the need for this position. Conservation obviously does a lot of work as of late, and Deerfield's a very wet place. And so we decided we weren't quite ready to build it into the budget. So we kind of piloted a position using Wetlands Protection Act funds. So the Conservation Commission receives those funds and can kind of use them as they need to with enforcement of the WPA. And so we ended up putting together a job description. Personnel board okayed it for conservation agent, posted the position, and got a successful candidate. And so Tim's been working 12 hours a week, I believe.
Yeah.
So about that for this piloted period. In anticipation of this year, actually having the conversation about potentially building that position into the budget if it seems worth it. And so I think Pete will make the case for the position, and we'll talk about that. But that's the context of how we got here tonight.
Yeah. So, what would you like to know about making the case? Other than, getting up in years, and it takes a lot of time. The Conservation Commission is very busy in this town.
Is it, so 1248, how many hours?
24.
Huh? That's 24.
24.
Benefited.
So that's a benefited position.
Yep.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
Had there been any discussion about looking to maybe regionalize this position to share with other communities that need conservation agents? And was there any progress at all?
Yes, and Chris can answer that. I
Yeah,
think.
happy to speak to that. Yeah, so there's a few towns that are regionalized around here. I think Whately is part of a 5-town group. Sunderland does not have a conservation agent. We did reach directly out to them about potentially working with them. It didn't sound like maybe there was going to be interest this year. So yeah, it's always an option with those positions. I know Greenfield, I believe, has their own dedicated conservation agent, but obviously a larger community. So yeah, there's, and I think we even talked the last sort of multi-town meeting. We even talked about that 5-member group. If there was enough need to add on an additional person, and then obviously Deerfield could step onto that as well. But that's as far as we got, is that there are some options out there to regionalize, but nothing was solid yet. So
Yeah, I've talked to a number of towns in the area. Greenfield has their own. Let's see, Leverett in that area has a share 2. The hill towns share 5. I talked to the folks up there, and they said, we just don't have enough time to add as much as Deerfield would bring on to do that in the district. So I've talked to a number of towns about it, and as well as Chris, and that's where we ended up at this point. But the workload is really tremendous, and Deerfield is one of, I don't want to say a handful, but it's in the minority of towns in cities in the state that do not have at least a part-time, if not a full-time, conservation agent on board, because there's just a lot going on.
I went to a resiliency conference last week, and I talked to the Leverett conservation agent about whether she could take on more work. And she said, well, if we were talking about 5 hours, I might be able to do it, but not at the level that we need currently. And speaking as a past chair, I wasn't anywhere near as busy as Pete is, and I think he does a much better job than I did, but it's a job that can wear you down quite quickly because there's just so much paperwork. And also site visits and, knowing the law.
Site visits, and there's a lot of interaction with state agencies, the DEP and other agencies as well. And I did reach out to another of towns, and either people have done it in a group of towns, or they have their own, and everybody's just straight out busy. So that's what I try to do, but and even at this at 24 hours, yeah, it's still under what would probably be the need.
So as an aside, I'm just going to throw out there a big thank you for all of the work that you did during the floods.
Yeah.
We heard a lot about that, and that's
There may be some more coming, but we'll knock on wood on that.
so
Thanks.
why is it so much busier now than it was, say, 5 years ago?
Well, I think it's really busier with climate change and things going on. The flooding that we saw 3 or 4 years ago, and we've had those occur in different times over the years. The regulations are certainly not going away. I developed a really good rapport with the folks at the DEP, so we have a good back and forth there. But the busyness from, and Tim, you were on the board back 5, 6, 7 years ago when I started about 7 or 8 years ago, 8 or 9. It just has increased. Development's increased. And our outreach and such, we get a lot more proactive requests to the Conservation Commission to, either open up a hearing on it, or an RDA or an NOI, just where people in the past may have not been so aware. So we've really raised the awareness of it quite a bit as well. Like I said, it's one of the handful, a few of the towns in the state that doesn't have at least a part-time agent, working for us. And, frankly, my time, especially in the flood years, I was probably at least 25 hours a week, if not more. And the other commissioners, unfortunately, I guess, fortunately, unfortunately, I'm the only old guy. I'm the only retired person. Everybody else got a full-time job. And, it's just hard to make time available, because a lot of the site visits that we have to do have to happen during the day, and they happen during, work hour times. So yeah, so it falls on me quite a bit.
And Pete, is it fair to say that after the storms in 23, our emergency management folks at the town started being more proactive about trying to, get ahead of culverts that were undersized and those kinds of issues? And that's probably added to the workload for the commission as well, I would imagine.
Yeah, very much so. Working with Chief, and I have a meeting with Matt from DPW coming up this week on the bundled NOI we're one of the few towns, maybe only 3 or 4 towns in the state that have put together a bundled NOI, which is a notice of intent for the town where we can look at things as a whole. So we're going to be looking at actually, more than a couple of dozen sites that we can pre-approve for the town to make it work, more efficiently. But yeah, it's a busy job.
Okay, Beth and then Jim.
Are the benefits for this position already in our budget for this year?
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
Yeah, I would have to double check with Sarah if she included that in the town's group insurance.
My guess would be that they are not, but there is always a contingency. There is always a couple of plans contingency built into the health insurance numbers because we never know who's going to come or go or age out or, turn 26 and need their own health insurance. So it would probably be covered under the contingency. I'm quite sure it's not included.
Jim and then John.
Forgive me for asking, but you said that some of the increased workload has come from increased development, but we heard from the assessors just a few minutes ago that there is no new development on the plate. How much of do you anticipate any reduction in the conservation agent workload in the, say, 4-year time frame?
No, actually, I don't. Maybe it's not new development, but there's retrofits and there's other developments. Between Eagle Brook, DA Academy, and Bement, they're doing stuff. I got 3 or 4 from Deerfield Academy going on right now, and another one coming in. And there's other. As people want to develop their own areas and look at stuff that they want to do over at on Yap's old farm. Who owns that now?
The cannabis place.
No, the tree guys that just came in. Northeast, yeah. So they got to take down all those. They want to take down all the greenhouses, and it's all in a wetland. They probably shouldn't be there to begin with. But anyways, so it's not only all new development, but there's a lot of, redevelopment and other activities that are going on. Certainly with the farmers, I've done a lot of work with the farm groups, trying to get them involved and what they can and can't do, because there's a lot of exceptions for agricultural use. So yeah, anyways.
And Treehouse is a pretty regular customer. I mean.
Oh yeah, I got one with Treehouse going right now, and I'm spending a lot of time with
Sunny Days
up there.
That was a complicated one.
Oh my, that took almost 4 years to get that one through. Yeah.
John?
Are there any expenses associated with the position, like paying mileage or training or dues?
There is some training, and actually the fellow that we have now is going to some more training from the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions on their annual event. And I think the overall training cost was maybe $400 for the year. And our commissioners are asked to do a lot of the training from the state. So I have one coming up, and I think it was $65. So there's training that is ongoing. And John, what was the other part of the question?
Well, like mileage or just
yeah, they're probably mileage.
Postage.
Most of the time, the postage is paid by the applicants. And so if there's an applicant, they pay the postage, they pay the fees for the newspapers and so forth and so on. And then that comes back to the fee that we have that Chris talked about, where over the last year, we piloted it from the fees that we've collected over the years, but we can't keep running that dry, because when things come up, attorney fees come in, and they get we can go through that fund pretty quick and things of that nature. So, yeah.
Margaret and then Beth.
So you've talked a little bit about wetlands delineation and how you've been tapping into those for some assistance. Are the recurring customers, the tree houses and the marijuana place, have they been utilizing the Conservation Commission for wetlands delineation primarily, or wetlands work?
No, we don't do any of the delineation. They
Okay.
have to hire a private company, outside company to do actually the delineation. We just oversee what would be brought to us and see if we agree with it or not.
But they have been paying fees to the town for the services that the Conservation Commission is providing? Are they paying, are they paying fees to
Or-
utilize?
Or, if you open up an RDA, there's a fee
Yeah.
for that,
Okay,
but they don't pay the town directly, they pay it for.
okay,
And some of that goes to the state and
DEP.
to stay with us, yeah.
okay, okay. I have real concerns about adding a benefited position. I'm sorry, it has nothing to do with your workload. I have real concerns about the financial aspect of it. Tell me, I know that you're looking at 24 hours a week. Tell me if you could predict negative impacts if funding was approved for, say, only 16 hours a week, and then the town pursued some regional opportunities after that.
Well, I know Chris was talking about pursuing the regional opportunities, and I've reached out to a lot of towns, and so far we've haven't been able to do so. To reduce it to that level, my work over the last 5 years has been routinely in the 15 to 30 hours a week, and I'm getting at the point where I'm going to take 2 months of vacation next year and things like that and go away. And so it's not going to happen. There's a lot to do. I'm not sure if I answered the question on where the.
No, it's okay. It's just, I was just looking for your sense on, if we can't, if we just can't fund a 24-hour a week
Mhm.
position, benefited position, what would it look like at 16 hours a week on average? Would there be weeks that maybe the Conservation Commission have less to do, or would it have to be a consistent 16 hours every single week?
No, it bounces up and down.
It does.
It's somewhat seasonality, if you will.
Okay.
In January, February, we tend to slow down. Construction slows down. If we went to that point, that would. I considered, we started at 12 to try it out. And Tim has been like straight out busy, and that's our conservation agent, with that 12 hours. Now he is also graduating from UMass with his master's in GIS. And whether he stays with us even at 24 hours or not, I don't know. He's a gem of what he does. I mean, have all sorts of research that he's done for the town, for us, that has helped us out so much. He's is way beyond what I could do at this point in my career. So I'm not sure whether that we'd have to start over probably if we got down to that level and start the search over. And I just don't know what we would be able to accommodate. But even at a 12 or 16 hours a week, if we have another 2020 when we had all the floods? We have another one of
23.
years like that. That was 30, 40 hours a week, like nonstop for most of the summer and fall.
What's the threshold? It's 19 hours before it becomes benefited.
Yeah, 20 is benefited, right? So 19's not.
And have you had any discussion about whether he would need benefits? Or is this premature to have that discussion?
Well, he's just graduating with his master's degree from college, and I'm sure he's looking for a career that has benefits.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why we're trying to, working with Chris, trying to find other towns that we could to go along with and share the burden. We're one of the few in the area that do not have a conservation agent on staff.
Yes, I don't understand the cost sharing with other communities. I don't understand it. I think does that mean that this person we hired will go out and do some work for, let's say, Sunderland, as an example, or Whately,
Yeah, we actually talked to Sunderland.
So,
so
and
forth.
so they'll,
Like an example of that is up in the hill towns. Ashfield is a lead on that, but their conservation agent covers 5 towns. So they basically say 20% plus or minus. This month might be a 16 or this month might be a 24, but it's in that range. And that's how they put together their program. So there was a lead town, Ashfield, but there's 5 towns involved. And I think a 6th one is trying to get in there now, but I asked them if we could get involved and they said, no, you're too big.
okay, but they all contribute.
Yep.
If this were to happen here with regionalization with our position, we would be getting money from those member towns. Right?
Or you're
Presumably,
just,
presumably.
Yeah, if you're the lead town, or you can have a more informal arrangement where you have an individual who, cumulatively is working, say, 40 hours a week, but it's not all in one community. And potentially, they wouldn't even be benefited in any one community, but that's unlikely given the current situation we have with what communities already have conservation agents, et cetera. If that makes sense.
But if that person that we hire is now doing work for other towns.
Yep.
That means how's the work gonna get done in our town that's being done now?
Yeah,
Or-
It would be
That-
more hours, right? He would work
Yeah,
24
right,
hours
yeah.
for us, and then
Right.
somebody else hired him for 6.
right.
He would be working 30 hours. They would pay him for 6 hours. We
Yeah.
would pay him for 24.
Oh, there'd be
Yeah.
more hours,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
all
Okay.
right.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification.
Did you already talk to Conway? Is Conway part of the Ashfield group?
Conway, what was Conway?
The-
They are. I think it's Charlemont, Buckland, Ashfield, Conway, Williamsburg, maybe, up in the hill towns.
Is that agent full-time?
Yes. Yeah. Greenfield agents full-time, that 5 towns full-time. I think it's either Leverett or Wendell. They might share one
So-
at 50%. But most of the towns around have it between a 20% and a 50% agent.
So would the lead town take care of the financial end of it, and then the other towns would kick into it to help pay for it, and you would probably put in there what the benefits were to split the benefits and that sort of thing, so it's not like, it's basically gonna be one town's agent, but that it encompasses the other towns,
Yeah.
is that right?
That's my understanding from
Yeah.
talking to the administrator up in Ashfield. So Ashfield takes it, but all the towns pay in, but they're the lead. That's my understanding.
In our current model, you're the Conservation Commission? Is that what you're doing?
Chair. Yeah,
Chair?
Yeah. There are
Okay,
5
and there's
commissioners.
5 of you?
Yeah, yeah.
So if we hired an agent, we would still have 5 of you?
Yeah.
And would you still be doing some of the work too?
For the most part, I've done the majority of the work.
Yeah.
But yeah, the commissioners have to, if they're available, we do a lot of site visits. Especially in the summer and the fall. I have my calendar in front of me, but probably I was up to 8 to 12 a month, 2 to 3 days. And some of them are an hour and some could be 4+ hours. If you're put on your muck boots and head out in the brook someplace, it could take a while. And also I just, going back to when we had the floods and the heavy rains a few years back, we did a lot of work with the DEP. And the town actually got cited because we needed to clean up some things that we didn't clean up soon enough. And because of our relationship with them, it really saved the town a ton of money in potential fines. And that was, geez, I forget what year was that, 2021, 23? That was almost nonstop work to be out there. We had a rep from the DEP assigned to Deerfield at 2 or 3 days a week to oversee all the cleanup, which lasted several months. So it's can be very busy, but
We had a consent order put in place that required some of the work that we did under bundle NOI to go out and they had to remove soil that they had deposited to clear channels so that water could flow properly. And so that was, we were facing serious fines and so forth, and having Pete, particularly Pete, was diligent and forthright and saved. Instead of having to pay a lot, we managed to do the work that was required. Hoosick Road, Greenfield Road, Hawks Road, and we had tremendous legal liabilities. And having someone like this in the front side could have probably prevented us from doing some wrong things. And we didn't do them, but we just didn't have the full information about what was legal. So, but I understand all the concerns that are being raised. I'm sort of advocating here, but
The flooding was extraordinary in
It was, yeah.
2023. There's no question. I mean, I know I kind of repeatedly emphasize the need to address extraordinary situations like that financially. However, I'm still really stuck on a benefited position. If we could start somewhere below, just below being a benefited position to start, and then pursue some sort of regionalization of the position where maybe we could take on some of those extra hours and have cost sharing for the benefits. It's just, I'm just concerned about that benefited level.
Well, that was the experiment that we tried this year. And I think between Chris and I, we just had no luck finding other partners to work with. This was taken out of it was taken from our conservation fund that people pay in for all their permits. And I forget, Holly may know, but we started with maybe $28,000 in the bank that we had built up. And that also pays for additional problems that make up lawyer fees and so forth. But we used up a lot of that money to pay this person out of our funds, if you will, out of the town's fund, but out of the funds that's set aside for the Conservation Commission as an experiment. And frankly, that's why I brought it to Chris earlier. It's like, and this is really working because, it's a busy time. And I know it was a one in a few year experience with the floods a few years ago. But if you look at the climate change, what's happening out there, the 1 in 100-year flood, it's going to happen about every 6 or 7 years, so forth and so on. So this is not going to go away. And like I said, I'm getting up there a little gray in the temples here.
Will the fees, so that there's fees collected for certain things, will that continue to be able to offset any of the salary, or?
That's a good question for Chris, I think.
Yeah. So, well, Holly, I don't know if you want to take that one.
So the Wetlands Protection Fund has been pretty well depleted, and I don't have the number off of the top of my head, but we won't really have any money. So they were putting at least like $2,000 or $5,000 in yearly just to help offset the budget. But there's not going to be enough money to do that. It's by the time this fiscal year is over, it's going to take a while to get that built back up.
Mark, you had a question?
Yeah. So did we say that Tim was working 10 hours a week right now?
12.
12?
Officially 12, but he's been doing more on his own.
Okay.
Yep.
And then is it normal for the CONSCOM chair to shoulder most of the work for this? Like, is that a new thing? Is that something that you had to do, Tim? Like, if there's a whole committee, why is it that you have to shoulder all this work?
well, I mean, when I was doing it, I had Pete Law, and we were both retired.
Okay.
And he does a better job than I did. I think he's maybe more diligent than I am. And also, things ramped up. I mean, it's I'm not going to say anything about past practices, and the Conservation Commission is miles different than it used to be. It used to be that people went out and looked at properties and they didn't necessarily pursue scientific research to determine, is there a wetland here or is there not a wetland here? And so I think the Conservation Commission, as it's currently structured, is doing the job that they're supposed to do to protect business owners who want to build things, oftentimes don't make good decisions. You know, if they're allowed to build in a wetland, they're going to suffer with flooding, they're going to suffer with all kinds of problems. And it's a disservice to them to allow them to do things that aren't smart. And it's a disservice to the town to have to deal with the company that wanted to build a store at, you know, the end of North Main Street next to the dinosaur shop. If they had been allowed to build there, it would have increased flooding in the downtown. Just no question, because there would have been impervious surface. And there's jurisdictional wetlands, which means the water actually flows directly into the Bloody Brook. So it would have been a nightmare. And fortunately, they decided that once their RDA lapsed that they got in 2016, they couldn't get their own wetlands engineer to find a way to build a place there. So they decided to walk away. So this is a thing that there's been a change in how these things have been looked at. So, and we don't want to go backwards, but Holly, could I ask a question? Can you talk about what it would cost to do like 19 hours a week? So it's it's not a benefited position.
Yeah, I have that figure in front of me, which is kind of where I was going with this. You know, why I was asking about the 12. I mean, this is about a 100% increase. I agree with some of the other members who have talked about the reticence in a fiscally tight year, adding a full-time benefited position, because there's of course other costs associated with that. So to that end, I would like to see if we could start at a spot where, you know, we've got somewhere between like a 30 and a 50% increase, and maybe ratchet this up, and, you know, kind of test things out this year. I know if we were to start somewhere between like 25 and 30%, we'd be looking at 15, 20 hours. So to that end, I would like to make a motion to amend the recommendation for this line item to $28,238, which would be a 33% increase in the budget. Yeah, I'll repeat. I would like to make a motion to amend to $28,238, which would be approximately a 33% increase.
How many hours is that?
It's 100, there's no line item.
Oh, I'm sorry, not the line item. Just for I guess for the total. The derivative of this is the number of hours. So I'm just basically taking the 16 hours times 52 weeks. 16 times 52 times the rate of 33.94.
Second that.
Any discussion of that?
What's Pete's comments on that?
Yeah.
You know,
Basically, we'll probably have to start over looking for a new conservation agent, because the one we have is remarkable what he's done. I have some documents of all the research he did for us from, you know, and it's, you know, his roadmap and development, but all the research he's done for us on these projects. But he's going to be a master's graduate from UMass here in May, with GIS, which is also incredibly important for many, many agencies here in town. If you could find the ability to use that in other agencies, but we'd probably have to start over. It'll put us back.
So it's not doable. Probably. Maybe.
Anything's doable. I worked in I was in the commercial world for 44 years and had to figure out things all the time. But yeah, it's going to be a step back. I mean, your conservation agent now, Tim, is pretty remarkable. He's a great find. So we'd have to start over.
And after but after he graduates, he's interested in a job that would be 26 hours a week.
24.
24, sorry, 24.
I don't know. I haven't asked that per se, but I think he was hoping that, okay, maybe we can find some other towns that would pick up the other thing. But he's also in his GIS specialist and he's done really, really well. And that is a up and coming field. So he'll probably, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I could totally see this killing the deal if he was expected a 40-hour position. I'm just wondering what the difference between 16 and 24 is for finding a full-time job that's not 40. And, you know, I think if we can get some sort of, you know, deal with other towns and stuff, that would be great. I'm just, instead of jumping right to the full-time position, you know, I want to test, like, what does 16 do for us for this fiscal year, and then see what happens after. But I don't know. I'm not recommending it because I'm trying to kill it, but I'm just recommending it because I see that he's already going to be working full time in terms of benefits consideration, but it would really be a 24-hour-a-week position that's not 40. So, yeah, that's all I want to say.
Jim?
This is not intended personally at all, but I don't think it's a good idea to consider positions based on specific individuals. He could get a better job out in Los Angeles next week, and do we need this position?
Yep. I don't disagree. I was an executive for over 40 years at my company before I retired and took on this volunteer work and had to make those decisions all the time.
Blake, you have a question?
Yeah, my question is that if we were to stay below what the benefits were and he were to work first for whatever the time period you're looking at, and he went to UMass, he went to the state, he went and he was working part-time for them, that has nothing to do with us. But as long as he fulfills his hours for us, we don't have to worry about what his next thing is. So he could be working 40 hours a week and get a full thing. The benefits may not be there, but at least you'd be getting a full paycheck. And I mean, I know that UMass has their own group of people that go out and do things, so.
Right. And maybe you could work 40 hours a week, Blake. When I was that age, I was really looking for a job with benefits and health and so forth that I could count on
I get
versus,
it.
Getting stipends here and there.
But
I
and
think
again,
he's
it
a
might
pretty
be-
smart kid.
I'm looking at something that might be able to hang him out here for a couple more years
Yeah.
before he does finally go to
Yeah,
wherever he's
yeah.
going to.
My sense is, having worked with Dan, he's not going to stay, but I don't know.
But and following up on Jim's point, the person versus the position in some form or fashion is absolutely necessary, because we're within, like, losing Pete is going to be just as bad as not having a conservation agent. I mean, it's a critical function. It doesn't sound like it's a critical function, but it is. So I agree with Jim that Tim Coles might move along because we can't give him the position he needs, but doesn't mean we shouldn't at least authorize 16 to 19 hour a week position. He might stay for 6 or 9 months, get us through the year end, and or we might be able to find Sunderland might wake up and decide that they actually do need help, and there's a full-time opportunity. But we're disregarding this gentleman who's been doing the work for us. I do think that this position is important for us to find a way to work into the overall functioning of the town.
So are you all, from the select board perspective, are you all open to like 16 to something under 20-hour position if
Yeah, I mean, the difference between 16 and 19 hours is like $5,000. So if I were going to say the likelihood, Pete's telling you that 12 hours is not sufficient.
Right.
So that I would go to the highest point that you could go to.
go to 19 or something
Yeah.
instead of?
That's
Yeah.
what I would argue for. But again, that doesn't mean,
Yeah, I'm not, like, personally, I'm not a big fan of benefited positions that are like 20 hours, 21 hours, because that extra, you buy into OPEB, you buy into the healthcare can be 15, 20,000, if you do a family plan. I mean, this doesn't sound like this particular person has that situation, but you don't know who you're gonna get, so.
And it may be a little bit of my fault. I came from the commercial world where you had to be at least 32, 36 hours to get any benefits from
Yeah,
companies
that's
that I
the
work
thing.
for. So getting benefits at 20 is pretty cool. I should have gone to the government side.
And that's probably a state requirement. 20 hours means you're benefited.
It's a
Yeah.
Deerfield requirement. To my knowledge, I think the state might have a minimum, but I know that for us, it's a Deerfield requirement. Yeah. The state does it too?
State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the state
the
was
same everywhere.
slightly higher, but yeah,
What happens if you're hired for 19 hours, but then you end up like working 21 hours a week? What, like, is it, I don't know.
Or if you start going through a period of time where you consistently work over 20, I know that
So-
that has caused problems.
Yeah, so there is, it has to do with the Affordable Care Act reporting, and what they have to do is they have to do a 12-month look back, and they have to average your hours over that 12 months. And if you meet if you went over so many times or average so much, then they do have to offer health insurance, whether the position was originally a benefited position or not. But that is something that I believe that once a year, there's a look back over the past 12 months to see if anybody fell into that where they were not supposed to be benefited, but their hours average so much. So if this position is some weeks working less and some weeks working more, it is something that you just have to kind of monitor closely to make sure you stay below that.
That could be an argument for not 19 because it feels
Yeah.
like we're getting too.
that's why I made my motion for
Yeah.
16.
And it could be an argument for
Start here, yeah.
managing the employee and telling him, you've reached your 19 hours, no more this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never understood how a person who's employed for 19 hours can decide that they're going to work more hours and then expect you to pay them. I mean, there has to be a function where the manager agrees to somebody working more hours.
In the commercial world, that would never happen. One of my staff came to me with that and said, "Oops, sorry." Anyways, that's what I got. It's an incredibly busy job to do it right and to keep out of. I think we've done a great job keeping Deerfield out of some hot water over the years.
After the floods, did he arrive after the floods? Or was he
No,
here?
he
He
was-
was here at the time?
No, yeah, just over the last year. Yeah,
Oh, just last year.
yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
not the 2023
No,
fiasco.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, got it.
Yeah.
That was all Pete.
Good.
Yeah,
Not good. not
that was
good,
pretty much all. Me and Chief and Tim was out there, and
but kept us out of trouble last year.
Yeah.
That's good.
So would you all be open to 19 instead of 16 or 16? You like the 16?
I don't want to.
I mean, you obviously said 16.
Yeah, I don't want to modify my motion to anything above 16, just because I think we're kind of in the danger territory if we get much over than that for this becoming a full-time position. So that coupled with the fact that this is, approximately like a 1/3 increase in hours, I wouldn't want to change my motion.
Okay.
I would have been open to up to 18, not 19, up to 18, but, and 19 is also this, you advertise a 19-hour-a-week position.
Yeah, that's like in
Glaringly
your
obvious,
face.
glaringly
Yeah.
obvious.
Yeah.
But I would have been open up to 18, but that'd be the consensus of the committee. For now, I stand with Mark's motion.
Okay.
Can you advertise for a non-benefited position? Don't put the hours in the ad?
Well, we need to approve a dollar value, so it does, I mean, they can advertise whatever they want. Right? I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes.
So yes, you can advertise a non-benefited position, but
Absolutely. Yeah. And we often will advertise it as non-benefit.
yeah. But we have to We have to come up with a number of hours because we have to come up with an amount of money that we're approving to be spent.
But just a question on that. So
Yeah,
if we did find, regional partners that wanted to do it, and this is a non-benefited job, but working with other towns, you up to 40, somebody or 30, whatever, the benefits start at 20, somebody would have to pay those benefits. So would you have to consider that now, when you look at 16 hours and the benefits, or am I getting ahead of myself? I was in charge of a lot of people for a long time, and all these things came up.
Probably have to share the cost of the benefits with the involved.
I think it'd have to be modified probably at fall town meeting.
Yeah, and again, it depends because some of these people have more informal arrangements where they're working a few hours in one community, a few hours in another, and cumulatively they're probably over 19, but no one's paying the benefits because they're not working that for any one town, and it's not formalized in any agreement.
But something like that, if that's how it went for a year, and then in the next year, you could come back and now that like, say you were working with Sunderland and Deerfield, right? Then you could come back and work out a plan to make it a benefited, but then split the benefits.
Yeah.
In a different year, I'm saying, if you had like,
And I think that's how the hill towns, the 5 towns have done it.
yeah.
They say we're going to have a full-time position, but you get certain hours, but we pay certain percentages based on their hours. Yeah.
Any more discussion on the motion we have for 16 hours?
Yeah, so just to recap here, the motion would be for, I initially stated $28,238, assuming that we're paying the $33.94, which
I think that just runs slightly shy of 16 hours a week, I think. So if we just added just a couple of bucks to balance out you tell us, Holly, that's
Yeah. That's what I came up with. It was only a few cents off.
okay.
But, so I have a calculation that I have just done, if anybody cares.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes,
For
we do.
16 hours, I had the same figure as Mark did, just off by a few cents, 28,238. For 18 hours, 31,768.
yeah, 769 if we round up. Yeah. Yep.
33,533 would be 19 hours.
Yep.
And then the proposal on the budget sheet is for the 24 hours.
Yep.
Okay, so 28,238 is good for 16, that'll get us
Yeah,
there?
I mean, I think it would be 239, but that's.
Okay, got it.
And
I'll
this-
come up $1. Yeah.
Has this grade and step been like looked at and everything? So this is the right amount per hour, the hourly rate.
Yeah, I think the position was originally posted for a range, and this is what's on the class comp, or that was approved, so.
So I'll modify the sum in my motion to 28,239.
So we have a motion to amend, so this is not voting all over. This is a motion just to amend the amount from 42,357 to 28,239. Any further discussion on that?
Yeah, we're going to be able to get anybody with those kind of hours.
Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, I don't know.
But then what happens if we don't? I
Then
think we
the
need
position
to look
doesn't get
down the
filled.
road, huh?
Yeah,
We don't know, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess we could
Yeah.
advertise it for 16 hours and see what happens.
I think you're going to bump into the same problem with 24. We're
You
not
might,
going
you
from
might.
we're not going from 40 to 16. We're going from 24 to 16. So I think we're going to have the same problem either way.
Yeah, I think you're probably
Yeah.
right. with
On
that.
a plus side, with 16, the other part might end up being a job that gets you benefits. Like versus, you know what I'm saying? You might be able to find
Mhm.
the other half of your.
get the 24 somewhere else and get your
Yeah.
benefits.
I'm just gonna do a quick time check. It is 6:17, so.
Yeah, I know. We got it. We have to be out of here in like 3 minutes. So, any further discussion on this motion? Yeah, all those in favor of amending to 28,239. All right, all those opposed. So that passes for five, how many of us? 5-1-0. I would prefer to see it at 18 hours for 31,000. I think that meets our, you know what, I'm gonna make a motion that we amend it to 31,768, which gives us 18 hours. Is anybody willing to second that?
I'll second it.
What?
So.
I will second that.
What's your code?
31,768. That was the number, right? 769, 768.
Is that for what, 18 hours?
That's
18.
18 hours.
There's 84 pennies in there.
Make it
769.
770.
Well, that's too many pennies. The
769.
768 gets you up to cover it. Yeah.
Okay. And you guys can obviously disagree with me, but I would be happier with 18 hours. Because I think the time is needed. I think that they would, I mean, if they can use 24, they can definitely use 18. All those in, any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, that passes 4-2-0. Any further discussion at all? All right, so we have a motion for 18 hours at 31,769. All those in favor? That's unanimous. 69. 31769. Sorry.
And I'm going to make a motion to withdraw my motion that I made long ago and far away at the beginning of this discussion for the select board. And do I need a second? I can just withdraw my motion. Yeah, and I'm going to make a new motion to approve what the finance committee just approved for 18 hours at $31,769.
Second,
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Okay. Can we in 3 minutes do Conservation Commission 171-5400?
Make a motion to recommend Conservation Commission account number 171-5400 in the amount of $1,525.
Same motion for select board.
Second,
Any discussion? No.
You need far less postage?
Yeah, we've done a great job of that. So I was able to save you $475.
That's awesome. Thank you.
How did you do it?
All right.
Reduction.
Any discussion? All those in favor? That's unanimous.
Any further discussion, select board?
No.
All those in favor?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
All right.
Motion to adjourn?
All those in favor?
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second. All those in favor?
Thank you,
Blake
Pete,
Gilmore,
for
aye.
coming.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
My wrong year. I was like, we approved all these things.
Good.
Because I had that on the shelf, you know? So I was in such a hurry when I.
Here's your pen back.
I was like, when I first got home, the assessor.
Thank you.
So. But then I started looking, I'm like, but then it's number match.
So we meet next Monday at 5:30.
Monday.
What's the rest?
Yeah.
I said I was going to.
I don't have the numbers. And it's like most of the
6 p.m.
Commonwealth has full-time. Yeah,
And then next Monday, we have regular
Yeah,
finance committee at 5:30.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
But yeah,
Thank you.
I mean,
And
I can only go so far, so long, you know?
Okay, great.
It's gonna hit the wall, but one day,
I spoke
pretty
to you.
soon, but appreciate it. Yeah,
We
keep
need,
on looking.
either I can't, we really should help me. Don't need to.
I mean, if you want to hear what they have to say, but we have the number.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
but I think I'm not gonna be.
Okay, no, okay. I hope everything goes well.
Yeah, it's like.
Oh, okay. You have a pen?
All the same.
Yeah. So good plan.
Just, just don't know what you're talking about. We're talking about, like 2 months next winter, didn't I? Yeah. All right, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Yeah.